Cinda.
Hello.
Who are you? That's always my first question. It's a bit of a philosophical question, so feel free to answer how you want.
My name is Cinda Ewton. I'm a Latvian-Canadian-American, I guess, by birth. And I've been in Latvia since February. I came over to watch the Bobsled and Skeleton World Cup. I went to the World Championships, went down for some professional development coaching in Greece for rowing, came back and the borders closed on me.
Tell me, what is your background? Like Otto said, like you have done some sports as well, so please paint a picture about that.
I played sports all my life, a 3-sport athlete in high school, and started rowing when I was 19 at university, and began coaching a few years later after that. So I've been a career coach in rowing for about almost 20 years, and became involved in the rowing industry through representation of an oar company in Australia, and connected with Otto in 2017 when I learned that he was doing some pretty high quality production of canoes and kayaks in Latvia.
Tell me, like, what is the joy that you get out of the sport of rowing, right? Like, is there something that you get out and look forward to, like, I don't know, each workout, like you go, or each competition you are at? Like, is there something that drives you?
Well, I love being on the water myself. Anytime I jump back in a boat, which is not very often, because I'm usually watching rowing, I'm reminded how enjoyable it is and how much fun it is. As a coach, I really enjoy helping athletes reach the next level from where they are to getting to where they want to be.
Tell me more about the winter sports. Like, how are you involved in that?
The winter sports is a little bit shorter in time frame. I live in Vancouver. I first watched the Latvians race in bobsled and skeleton at the Vancouver Olympics. And then it wasn't until 6 years later that I was in contact again with the bobsled and skeleton teams, supporting them through transportation of equipment or finding them local rye bread.
Logistics, basically,
yeah. In Whistler, and then have become friends with them since.
Tell me about, like, what is the tribe in there? Like, do you like the sport or the thrill of watching the sport, or is there something like, similar in like rowing that draws you into it?
Well, I think when you coach a sport that's based on speed and going fast, you're always interested in how other athletes in other sports also find their peak speed and their peak performance. And clearly skeleton and bobsled are much faster than rowing, but it also complements the time of year when we're racing versus they're racing. So I'm able to
off season,
exactly,
right? The balance of it.
Exactly, right? It has actually brought me balance, and I've really enjoyed learning more and more.
Tell me, is there something that you feel like is complementary to each other? Like, I don't know, maybe not from a technical aspect, maybe that as well, but something that like maybe gives you a foot of thought from one to other.
Well, I think anytime you go to a start line, you're going to be a little bit nervous.
Right.
and what you do before the start line has there's similar practices between both sports. I think in rowing, going to the start line and being really quiet. It's a very quiet place before you start, and being on the water is probably one of the most nerve-wracking times of your performance. And then in bobsled skeleton, obviously they have their own practices, but the visualization aspect that I see with skeleton before they go down the tracks is pretty exciting to me, even almost more so than the race itself.
I have to ask you this because you just touched the aspect of stress and excitement.
Yeah.
Is there something like you overcome, or is there a point, do you think, like from an athlete's perspective, I just want to feel your personal views on this, that there's a point where you just, with experience, you are able to calm yourself down and control your emotions more so? Do you feel there's an aspect of that as well for some athletes? Maybe not for everyone, but like for some.
Absolutely. I think everyone's going to vary on an individual basis. So how they achieve their ideal performance state is what they're looking for. Some people need to actually bring themselves up to that point, and if they're feeling flat or they're not too excited about racing, and some people may not be paralyzed, but feel controlled by the anxiety that comes with the pressure, really, of performance. And then everyone has their own ways of dialing that back and identifying what state they need to be in order to produce their best.
Since you mentioned you're a coach, are there aspects, how do you manage that with your athletes, and perhaps they have different personalities, different ways how they approach and overcome that? Can you tell me about that?
They do have different personalities, and that's really, I think, the key of coaching is understanding your athletes and who they are, and what it takes. As an extreme example, not at national championships, but just at a local regatta, I had a girl come up to me and she was just over the top anxious about going on the water and thinking that she was going to break an oar or something. And so I sent her around the park and I told her to identify as many number of trees as she could and come back and talk to me. And she did, and she was much better. She said thank you.
Are there...
That's pretty extreme. But you have to just understand your people.
Are there the opposite ends of the spectrum that you have to raise up someone?
Absolutely. I think that sometimes happens when people are too comfortable in a situation, and it feels like they've done it before. There's nothing. They don't feel there's a reward for performing well, or it's just kind of same old. Yeah.
Sometimes when there's the lack of that, do you feel there's a loss of passion?
It might feel like a loss of passion, but it might just be a loss of a lack of focus and just identifying, or not identifying that every time you go down the track is an opportunity to learn and improve.
Right. Can you tell me about your passion? What is your passion? What would you say?
Oh gosh. My passion is really coaching. That's pretty plain, isn't it?
Yeah, but plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Right. Tell me more about what you're doing over here right now while you're kind of stuck here.
Well, it was interesting. During the peak of the pandemic, I was with family, with my cousins who were working from home, and they had a young child, and I was trying to help out at home. That was until May. And then in May, I moved over with Prestol, and I was helping with the finishing works of boat building, polishing, putting stickers on, wrapping, and helping our boat builder, Chris Strame, wherever I can.
Tell me more about your knowledge. What do you provide? What is your input in all that process?
I think my knowledge comes from understanding quality and what I want to see going out the door. And I think, I believe here at Prestol, as I understand how teams work, and so my contribution is a bit more of how can we get all of these guys working their best, really.
I usually ask this question. I know it may be odd since we just met. What do you say is your greatest achievement?
Oh, I may have to think about this.
It's a good question then.
Greatest achievement?
Yeah.
Oh, this is tough. I think it seems small, but my greatest achievement is bringing people into sports that they may not already have some familiarity with, and allowing them to find their passion.
What does it mean to you, sports? Is there an underline that is there for the meaning of sports? It's not just a physical activity, but maybe there are lessons and stuff like that.
Yes. I mean, sports are an incredible vehicle for youth and just for anyone, really, to develop confidence, to explore themselves, and really be able to achieve things that they might not have thought of possible.
Okay, thank you. Always, I have this opportunity for everybody, since I kind of put you on the spotlight. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah, when will you start racing again?
Hopefully in October.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And have you been on a paddleboard?
Not on a paddleboard, on a kayak. In a kayak. So.
Yeah. But
so,
have you been on a paddleboard?
On a paddleboard, maybe I can count 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm more so like paddleboard. I don't feel it's as fast as a sports
Okay,
boat. So
yeah, that is true. But some people can
I'm
make it
into
go fast.
speed.
How about skeleton? Have you tried skeleton?
I haven't tried it, but I heard the trials are coming up this weekend.
Okay.
Or then I don't know. I haven't prepared for them, but maybe down the line that's something for me.
Skeleton is so much fun.
Yeah.
I have tried it in Whistler, just from curve 11, so they start you far enough
Right.
down that it's safe because you can't go that fast. Well, I only hit 98 kilometers an hour,
Only.
but I only thought I was gonna go once, and I said nope, I'm going again.
Oh, it was like a roller coaster, like again and again and again.
Well, yeah, I had 2 tries, but
Oh,
yeah,
alright.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. But it was Tomass Dukurs that told me that it was safe, and I said okay, if Tomass says it's safe, then I know it's safe.
yeah. Also, basically, it was like a experience that you hold on for like forever now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Maybe there are some words of encouragement for people that are watching, athletes, anybody.
Oh gosh. I think that really you need to go out there and find opportunities. They are out there. It may not seem like there are, but there are so many opportunities out there to find new sports or even improve in the sport that you may have been in for years.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
interview. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this interview with Cinda. I hope you like this interview, and I hope you will watch other interviews that I recommend for you right now on the screen. I had an interview with Otto, and Otto recommended to record an interview with Cinda, so I hope you like the interview with Otto. That interview is in Latvian, but you can also find interviews in English on the playlist that is recommended on the screen right now. I hope you like this interview and other interviews that are recommended on this channel. Hit the like button and subscribe, and see you in other interviews. I wish you all the best.